Hello class 5th. This is your second part of the chapter Abraham Lincoln, and I told you in the last video that Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of US. And here in the story there's a girl named Sarita who is going to see the movie Lincoln. But before she went to see the movie, she had some questions, and her father Joginder answered all those questions. She was very curious to know more about Abraham Lincoln. And I also told in the last video that he was born in a log cabin in Kentucky, and his father's name is Thomas Lincoln and mother's name is Nancy Hanks Lincoln. This is what I told you about him. One thing which I want you all to know is that he was born on 12th Feb 1809. Alright, so you can write this thing in your book, or even you can write it somewhere. Just remember this. So let's now begin this chapter. We have to start from this paragraph. See here, the Lincolns moved from Kentucky to Indiana due to some land problems in 1817. So there were some land problems in Kentucky. Because of that, the whole family, Abraham Lincoln, his older sister and his parents, they all moved to Indiana in 1817. Alright. Then see here, they made living by hunting and farming on a small plot of land. And how they made their living? By hunting and farming. These were the two things by which they could earn. Alright, understood? Then see here, when Abraham was 9 years old, his mother passed away due to milk sickness. After a few months, his father remarried. Here what we come to know, that when he was only 9 years old, his mother died. And how she died? Due to milk sickness. Now what is this milk sickness? This is actually a disease that is caused when someone have a dairy product by a cow that has eaten poisonous snake root. Poisonous snake root is the name of a plant. This is a very poisonous plant, and if any cow by mistake eat it, the milk and the milk product of that cow turns poisonous, and if a human consume that, then that person dies. And that is what happens with Abraham's mother. She died due to milk sickness. Alright, and after a few months after she died, so his father, he married again. Alright, he remarried. Now see here, Abraham's stepmother was a strong and affectionate woman named Sarah Bush Johnson. She had 3 children of her own. Abraham Lincoln grew closer to her and she encouraged him to read. So you can see here, the women whom his father married is Sarah Bush Johnson. She was a very strong woman and she was a very loving woman. It was not like as Abraham Lincoln and her sister they both were stepchildren for her, but she was not like that. She was a very affectionate woman. She loved both of them like her own children. And it is being said here that she had children, 3 children of her own. She also had 3 children. Alright. And Abraham Lincoln, he grew closer to her stepmother. She was her stepmother, Sarah Bush Johnson, and Abraham Lincoln grew closer to her. She started loving her. She encouraged him to read, and she is the one who encouraged Abraham Lincoln to read. Alright. Now, see this line. Sarita looked shocked. But do you mean to say that he never went to school? Here again a question is there put up by Sarita. She looked shocked and she said, by this you want to say that he never went to school. Who is he here? Abraham Lincoln. So she was shocked and she said that by this you want to say that he never went to school. Then Joginder said, see what he said. He was mainly self-educated. He received formal education for just about 18 months, maybe a few days or week at a time. So he said, Joginder said that he was mainly self-educated. He studied by his own and he received formal education. Formal education means he went to schools and all to get education. He just received that for 18 months. 18 months means 1 year and 6 months. So for that time only he went to proper school to get education. Rest of the time he studied by his own. Why he did all those? As you can see, there were not a lot of money for them, but he has so much interest in studying. That is why he loved to read. And who encouraged him to read? His stepmother, Sarah Bush Johnson. He even went to school maybe few days or weeks at a time. Alright. Now see here, Sitin, you will be amazed to know that he was very fond of reading. He would walk miles to borrow books from others, said his neighbors. He was very fond of reading. Like he loves to read. And you will be shocked to know, as said by their neighbors, that he would walk. Like they don't have proper cars, cycles and all. So he just walked miles to borrow book because he could not purchase every book. So he would walk and borrow books from others. This is what is being said by his neighbors. Alright. Again a question is being put up by Sarita. What kind of books did he read? He read all the popular books at the time. Age of Fables, Robinson Crusoe, Pilgrim Progress, and of course the family Bible. So Joginder said that he used to read all the popular books of that time, and that includes Age of Fable, Robinson Crusoe, Pilgrim Progress, and of course the family Bible. These are very famous book that time, and it has wonderful stories. Alright, you can also have these books and read them. And of course the family Bible, as he was Christian. Alright. Now see here, later the family shifted to Illinois. Abraham was often called by his nickname Honest Abe. He was tall and thin, but he was strong. He would often cut wood with an axe and was good at it. At Illinois, he worked as a shopkeeper, a postmaster, and even a general store owner. He soon became popular in the area. After shifting to Indiana, this family, the Abraham's family, shifted to Illinois. It's again a name of a place in US. And Abraham, he was often called by his nickname. Everyone has a nickname. So he was called as Honest Abe. Now we Here we can see him in this picture that he was very thick. No, he was thin, but he was tall. You can see here. So he was tall and thin, but he was very strong. It was not like he was thin, so he was not strong. It was not like that. He was thin, still he was strong. He would often cut wood with an axe. You know, it takes a lot of hard work. It takes strength to cut wood with an axe. He was very good at it. This shows that he was very strong. Being thin, he was very strong. And at this place, this Illinois, he worked as a shopkeeper, even a postmaster and general store owner. So he worked in different places, and because of this, he soon became popular in this area. In Illinois, in that area, wherever he used to work, he became very famous. Alright. Now, read here. But how did he become the president of such big country like the US? Said Sarita. Again, Sarita asked a question. But how did he became the president? He was just a shopkeeper, a postmaster, even general store manager. How could he become the president of such big country like United States? Now see how that is being done. You see, continued Joginder, he got involved in political activities and opposed slavery very strongly. You know, this thing slavery is very bad, just like child labor and all these things. This slavery is also very bad for our society. So here Joginder said that he got involved in some political activities and he strongly opposed slavery. What is slavery? Slavery means the state of being slave. And what is a slave? Slave is someone who is the property of another person. That person is being forced to do every work and he's not even paid properly. He's not being treated as human. They are being treated as some property or some things. Can you imagine humans treated as things or a property? So that is a shame for our society, but it was practiced in those days and he opposed this. He never liked this slavery thing. Alright, so that is why he got involved, because he opposed this slavery. Then see here, he also practiced law. He struggled a lot throughout, but he never gave up. Finally, he was elected president in 1861 and re-elected after his first term as president. He also practiced law. Practiced law means he studied law. He was a lawyer and he struggled a lot. He did a lot of work. He didn't get success, like he was not served everything. He has to struggle to get whatever he has achieved in his life. But he never gave up. The ones who never gave up, they only become successful in life. Same thing happened here with Abraham Lincoln. He never gave up. He struggled. And finally, in 1861, he was elected president of US. And then again, he was re-elected as president. Alright. Till here, everything is clear. Now let's read. Meanwhile, Meena came in with a cup of tea and biscuits. She said, "How do you remember all the details so clearly?" Joginder took a sip and said, "You see, I read his biography recently. I remember reading that he was the first important political figure who suggested that women should also have the right to vote." Then meanwhile, Meena, who is Meena? Joginder's wife, or you can say Sarita's mother. She came with a cup of tea and biscuits and she said, Meena, she said that how do you remember all the details? How do you remember every detail part of Abraham Lincoln? So Joginder said that recently he has read his biography. What is a biography? That is a detailed description of person's life. So he has read all the detailed descriptions of Abraham Lincoln's life. All right, so that is why he can tell all the details. And he said that he was the first important political figure. Why he was like that? Because he was the one who suggested that women should also have the right to vote. Before this time, before him, the women's, they didn't have the right to vote. So after he suggested, women's got right. All right. Now let's read here. He supported women's right. Sarita and Meena exclaimed, "Wow, that was great." Joginder said he was assassinated in April 1865 by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theatre, Washington, D.C. Wilkes Booth was a supporter of slavery. The world mourned Lincoln's death. As he said, and as he was telling about him, Abraham Lincoln, he said he was a supporter of women's right. He always supported women's rights, that women should also get equal rights like men. After hearing this, Sarita and Meena, they both said, "Wow, that was great." Of course, women feel proud if someone like him stand for the rights of us. Then Joginder said that he was assassinated. Assassinated means murders that is done due to some political reason. Alright, so he was murdered. But we don't say murder for these political people, we say assassinated. And he was assassinated or killed or murdered, you can say, in April 1865 by John Wilkes Booth. It's the name who killed him. Actually shot him by his gun, and at Ford's Theatre, Washington, D.C. So in Washington, D.C. he killed him. And this Wilkes Booth, why he did that? Because he was a supporter of slavery. And Abraham Lincoln, he opposed slavery. So that is why he killed him. And the whole world mourned Lincoln's death. Mourns means they all get sad. We all cried. We all felt sad when he died. Because he was a very good person. He was not just a normal president. He was someone who just did so much for his people. He was the person who suggested that women should get rights to vote. He was a supporter of women's right. Then he was he opposed slavery. So all this good work he was doing, and we cry when someone like him die. All right. Then see, I am reading the last paragraph. Sarita said, "Truly, he was a great leader." And Sarita said that yes, he was a great leader. Meena stood up. "Yes, now let's get ready to leave." Joginder added, "I don't want to miss the show." Sarita got up. "Daddy, now I will really enjoy the movie as you have told me a lot about Abraham Lincoln." Joginder merely looked at her. "Remember all that I told you about this great man. He rose in life because of his own determination and perseverance." In this last paragraph, as Sarita came to know everything about Abraham Lincoln, she became more curious to watch this movie. And Meena, she has seen the time, and she said, "Now let's get ready and leave." And Joginder, he also said, "Yes, we should leave early because we don't want to miss the show." Sarita said that now, as you have told me so much about Abraham Lincoln's life, now I will really enjoy the movie. And Joginder, he looked at her and said that, remember, whatever I told about him, he is a great person, he's a great man, and he rose in life. He reached that position in life because of his own determination, his own hard work, and the spirit to reach the height, the spirit to achieve success in life never let him stood back. This is what we should learn from his life, that we should never give up in our life. We should always move forward. We should do hard work. We should be determined to achieve whatever we want to achieve, and hard work pays off. Alright, so this is there in this chapter. I hope you all have understood everything. Just read this chapter again. Alright, and try to do the tick the correct option of this chapter. So bye and take care.